An adopted girl who was in search of her biological family ends up discovering the impossible. A home doesn't need bricks and concrete to be made, all it needs is love and family. Similarly, a family is not bonded by genes but is formed by love. For any child who is adopted, life is never that easy. Though his or her new family nurtures them with all their love, the space that belongs to their biological family will always remain empty in their hearts. When an adopted child brushes their teeth with the reality of being adopted, the foremost question that comes to her is, who were my biological parents? Where's my family? This is a chapter from Hillary Harris's life, who was an adopted daughter. She searched for her biological family for years when she came across the unexpected. Hillary Harris was barely a year old when her father left her at the orphanage as he moved in with another woman. Luckily, another family adopted her as their child and gave her all the happiness she deserved in life. Hillary gave her new childless parents a reason to look up to the next day in life. Hillary's childhood was nothing but ordinary, like it is for any other child. Her innocence was a result of her adopted parents' love and care. She was a girl full of vitality and vigor. She enjoyed visiting the children's park and frolicking around. Life was a happy one until the day she had to face reality. As years passed by, Hillary grew from an infant to a toddler to a preschooler and finally a teenager. Though she was making the most out of her growing years, as she grew older, her parents had a rising concern, a concern which gave them sleepless nights. The parents had an obvious reason to suffer from insomnia. They couldn't decide whether they should break the news of Hillary being adopted or not. They didn't wish to hide it from her, but how would they tell their daughter, whom they reared with so much affection and nourishment, that they aren't her biological parents? Hillary's adopted set of parents gathered all their courage and after thinking for days, finally broke the news. They told her that she wasn't their biological daughter but is adopted. Hillary was a teen then and could understand the dynamics of situation. Hillary was extremely thankful to her parents. She owed them the life she's living today and all the luxuries the couple provided. However, as she matured into a woman, she started questioning her past, and some deepest hidden lying secrets from her parents began to unfold. Time heals all wounds, and it did the same to Hillary Harris, if only for a short while. She accepted the fact that she was an adopted child and moved on. She got married to Lance Harris and started living in Wisconsin. She even gave birth to a cute little daughter. But now that she was a mature woman, she knew it was time to look for things she dumped deep in her heart in her teenage years. Harris and her husband were busy with their daily chores and stuff. Their daughter was admitted to preschool. Though Harris was satisfied with her living, she now wanted to know about her biological family. She started her search from an old box she got from her parents' place. Harris was confident that she would definitely find something in that box, and as she started looking into stuff, she grew nostalgic. A lot of things in that box reminded her of her adopted parents. Some toys, old photographs, and her favorite frocks which she used to wear as a child. And then she came across the file she was looking for. The file that she found was an adoption file that her new parents were handed when she adopted Hillary. She found her adoption papers in it. She was hopeful that this file would summarize the details about her family, but to her surprise, the file didn't furnish all the details, or maybe some papers were missing. But she was able to find something that might prove helpful. Though the file didn't provide much information to Hillary, it furnished certain names. The father's name read Wayne Klaus. Not only this, she found out she had a half-sister named Dawn Johnson. The papers also had the orphanage's name. Would she be able to locate her family after all these years, or was the unexpected written in her fate? Hillary visited the same orphanage again. She couldn't recall living there, and how would she? She was only 1 year old. Just when she thought the door to this orphanage would lead her to her family, the doors to her hope closed. The orphanage was abandoned and there were no whereabouts of the children that once were sheltered there. Was it the end or a beginning to the answers? Harris continued her search. She was determined to find her family. She asked the people living near the orphanage if they could fetch her any contact number of anyone who was linked with it. Unfortunately, no one knew about anyone. Then she thought, why not search the web? She wasn't prepared, surely, for what was about to come. Harris instantly took up to Facebook for help. She typed in Dawn Johnson and there it was. There were some thousands of Dawn Johnsons that the search results fetched, but which was her sister no one knew. It was not as easy as Hillary thought it would be. Since she'd never met her before, there wasn't even a possibility that could make some possible guesses, and then something strange happened. Every night, Hillary would search the web for her sister and go through every single profile, but she couldn't relate to any of the matching profiles. She was now giving over her hopes of reuniting with her family. When the chances of finding her sister grew thinner, someone enters Harris's life. Who were they? Harris was now sure for some unknown reason that she won't be able to meet her biological family ever. One fine day, she was strolling in the lawns of her house when she saw that a new couple had moved in next door. Though there wasn't anything special about the new neighbors yet, Harris decided to show some politeness. When the new neighbors were settling in their house, they could often be seen loading and unloading their belongings from the Pack and Movers transportation facility. Usually Harris would bypass them, but as they shared the same driveway, one day she interacted with them. She greeted them with a hello. What came as a reply shocked Harris. Hillary Harris, in a polite manner, said, "Hello, this is Hillary. I'm your next-door neighbor. I guess you're new here." The woman replied saying yes, they were new to the city. They moved here just 2 nights back. She introduced herself as Dawn. Hillary was surprised in that moment and couldn't believe that the woman just addressed herself as Dawn. Harris couldn't trust her ears. She'd been searching for her sister for years, and when she just gave up on finding her, a woman moves next door and introduces herself as Dawn. Hillary rushes to her house and tells the entire story to her husband. Was this a mere coincidence, or was it fate playing its role? Even Lance, for a second, was taken aback when he heard his wife. Hillary recalls that the lady mentioned she was from Greenwood, and it's the same place which was somewhere highlighted in the adoption papers. Was there a possibility that she was the woman Hillary had been looking for? After evaluating all the pros and cons and the possibilities of their new neighbor to be their family member, Hillary and Lance shared a big laugh. How was this even possible that something they'd been looking for this badly ends up living next to them? Harris in an interview said, "He was like, no," and I was like, "No." And we both said it would be funny if she was my sister. Though initially, Harris thought it was laughable that the family living next to them could be their real family. Somewhere deep inside, she thought maybe they were. After their first interaction, the duo never exchanged words, and Hillary was getting desperate to know her surname. Harris was getting impatient. She would see the lady next door watering her plants through the window pane and would say to herself, "Is she my long-lost sister?" She could never gather the courage to directly go and ask her. What happened next was no less than a surprise than a shock. Harris always wanted to ask the woman, but she never actually did. She thought that her neighbor would accuse her of intruding their privacy. It was August, and on Sunday morning, Hillary comes across a stack of shingles parceled and kept in the driveway. When she saw the name on it, she was blown away. It was some 8 months since the neighbors had first interacted. Dawn and her husband Kurt wanted to fix their roof and prepare for approaching winters when they ordered the stack of shingles. It was for them. Harris was baffled when she read the name on the parcel. It read Johnson. Harris was perplexed when she realized that the lady next door had her surname, Johnson. It meant that she was Dawn Johnson. Hillary called her husband right then and screamed, "It's gotta be her, it's gotta be." Lance didn't want to shatter his excited wife's hopes again and asked Harris to go and ask about the same to Dawn herself. Would Harris do it? She was understandably scared. Harris didn't want to hear that the woman they were mistaken for a sister wasn't her but some other Dawn Johnson. Her fear of being rejected stopped her every time she thought to ask. But then, Harris made up her mind to reach out. Somehow, when Harris reached the doorsteps of Dawn's place, she, out of anxiousness, asked her husband if this lady doesn't know about her. What if she didn't know that she was a half-sister as well? Lance knew that Harris wouldn't be able to do it alone, and thus, the duo knocked at Dawn's door together. Once the couple knocked at the neighbor's door, Dawn received them. While Lance started a conversation and talked about random things, instead of asking the much-awaited question, Hillary kept staring at the woman's curly hair. Harris even stared at her hands constantly too. Harris didn't utter a single word at Dawn's place. Eventually, after the small talk, the families bid adieu to each other. Dawn was uncertain about Harris's reactions and was suspicious about the way she stared. The same day, Dawn left for a family vacation when she got a strange message. Harris's entire day was spent thinking about the awkward meeting she had. She constantly looked at herself in the mirror and said, "She looks like me. I had curly hair once too, and our hands look alike." She then decided to text Dawn and ask the question. Harris asked the question to Dawn via text message, and her number she found out through the adoption file. She texted Dawn, "Were you the loyal Cornfest queen in 1983? Dawn had a puzzling reaction. Dawn was totally perplexed. This piece of information was very personal and she didn't expect her neighbor to ask. Dawn replies asking, "Hey, wait, why are you asking that?" Though she was the Fest queen. Hillary just shoots another question without waiting for a second. She asked Dawn, "Dawn, who was your birth father?" The answer was exactly what Harris wanted to hear. Dawn tells Harris that her father was Wayne Klaus, who unfortunately died in 2010. Harris and Lance were getting crazy. After the conversation, the neighbors realized they were sisters. Dawn never knew her father had other children as well. She met him only when she was 18 years old, and Harris right away called Dawn and screams, "You and I have the same dad, don't we?" After this realization, the neighbors, who were actually sisters, talked over the call for an entire night. They had a lot to share and tell each other. While they shared some laughs, they even cried the whole night, thinking they were physically so close to each other, but never knew. The very next morning, Dawn returned from her vacation and immediately knocked on Harris's door. She got her sister some flowers and some old photos of her dad. On meeting each other, they greeted each other with, "Hey, sister." Since then, the two sisters are inseparable. The sisters are very happy to see that they surprisingly ended up living a mere 20 feet apart from each other after living alone for almost a decade. Dawn is glad that she's not a sister but an aunt as well. Dawn loves Harris's 5-year-old daughter as much as her own kids. Hillary was overwhelmed to meet her long-lost sister, the family she always wanted to know about, and the people who she was born with. Hillary had all the answers now, and she even says that Dawn completes her. She's not only her elder sister, but is more like a mother. Harris and Dawn inspire all other people by sharing their story. The sisters today are living happily with their family and hang out together. They go for picnics and family vacations together as well. They both laughingly tell other children who are in search of her biological family that you should go and look next door. One never knows what surprises lie there.